Nobody knows tomorrow. Inyako ni maishineke don. Niabake meboba, nioba, 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 nioba. What's up, it's Trigmatic, and you're on Africa Global Radio. Our story, our growth, our future. Check out www.africaglobalradio.com, where Africa lives. We're telling you the African story. Ra. Where we they go? Where we they go? Where we they go?
Where we they go? A bit of pidgin in there. Where exactly are we headed? That's the question, and that's the message of the song by Trigmatic, or Trigmatic if you like. I call him Mr. Driggy, or the musical Trigger. Trigmatic is his stage name. Real name, Enoch Nanayao Odru Ejay. Well, delving into all those layers of his, I told you, we're going to peel him out like an onion. Layer by layer. It's 2 minutes to the top of the hour. Let's do this. I'd like to say a very good afternoon to the man, Trigmatic. Good afternoon, my brother.
Good afternoon, bro.
It's so good to have you here. And especially as it's my first time speaking to you, hey, I'd just like to say big ups. I'm a big fan of yours. I was saying this off air. I wanted to go on air because folks like you, folks like Manifest on our landscape, maybe even an EL, sometimes your vibes, your lyrics and all of that. I don't just listen to music for the sake of music. I want to get something from it. And when I listen to your song, My Life, Where We Did Go and others, and even the Ga renditions, Charlie, they killed the Ga.
Thank you.
Brilliant stuff there. So let's hit the nail on the head, especially as time is not our friend. I know of trigonometry in mathematics. Trigmatic is a whole new one right there. How did you come by your name, your stage name?
Thank you. My friends used to call me Trigger. Back then, everybody would say trigger, 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 trigger. And then it evolved into so many other triggers. Right. And then also came into the industry, another trigger. So it was, during an interview, I was asked, what my name was. And that was my first interview, actually.
Right.
And I didn't know what to say. It just came out. And I said Trigmatic. And that was it.
So you just stuck to it.
Yeah.
It was like that epiphanic moment.
Yes, so
it just happened.
It just happened. Yeah, it just happened. And then the guys were like, "Oh, it's a cool name, child. Let's keep it."
Right.
And and it's been like that since.
How did it start for you? I've read a lot about how you got into music. Yeah. I mean, from school, Martin de Porres, and even before that in DC and all of that. Yeah. Let's put it together. Tell us a bit about your background and how you even considered music the way to go with your life.
Well, I mean, I'm one of the few people who didn't even get the chance to consider music. I was just born with it.
You were born with it?
Yes, because I've always known myself to be doing this, and I just keep growing with it as time goes on. I lived with my grandparents, even though my dad was in and out, and then later he came to stay.
Right.
I've always been doing this music thing, and I was lucky to find myself in a space where there was so much talent, around the Dansuman Flamingo area. It was a hard neighborhood, but it also had so much, it was embedded with so much talent. Like the guys in there were something else. Yeah, I mean, that's where talent really was,
Yeah.
And we found ourselves, competing, battling, going from home to home, from neighborhood to neighborhood, trying to, see who the best is. And I was very active around that time. I was very young, but I was very active, and I got people, like Robbie X and Co, even Mensa then. And, and a few of the guys, because we were following a few of these people, and like hip hop was a thing at the time, so you always wanted to be that cool guy who wants to rap, who was liked by everybody. It looked as if it was almost like, Charlie, you were the first to get the cool thing, so you were the one that everybody looked at. And that culture, we grew liking it and loving it, because that was maybe the only accepted cool thing as a young person.
Right.
And then it grew into something else, and then all of that. So everybody around me has always known that I will be a musician.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Even your family.
Yeah, even my family, because there's a doc online that guys can check. It's like 11 minutes shots film sort of about me, and my grandma was telling a story when I was young. I used to cry a lot, and I would only stop crying when they fix a headphone over my head. That's the only time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when I was a baby, and that's the only time I stopped crying. And I've heard this story. Like my aunties would come and say, "Oh, because usano usua ya bonyum pe na ujai," So I mean, I knew that this is it.
Right. A lot of artists out there, big ones, mammoth artists, they don't write their own songs.
Yeah.
There are a lot of artists out there. People are always writing their songs for them. You would never know.
Yeah.
Do you pen your own songs?
Yes, I do.
All of them?
Yes, for now, I think every song that I've put out, I've always had co-songwriters as well. So the thing with songwriting is that there's the lyrical songwriters and then the musical songwriters. These are like the composers as well. And it's just in Ghana we don't break them down into smaller bits. But the truth of the matter is, there are people who write their songs melodically, and there are people who write their songs lyrically.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a lyrical songwriter. And
kind of like a poet.
Like a poet. And sometimes I do my melodies as well. But, there are times too where a producer, we call them producers, but they are co-songwriters. They will call you and say, well, I have this cool beat for you. You go and then the beat inspires the song. And the melody was based on the beat. That makes the beat maker a co-songwriter on the song as well. So yeah, I do write. So far, I've written almost all the songs that I've done.
All right. So there are a lot of artists who have passed through our studios, from Reggie Rockstone to Rocky Dawuni to only last week we had Joey B. He had quite a lot to say about his music, what he calls it. What do you call your genre of music and why?
I would say high life.
High life.
Yeah, I would say high life with a twist of or a fusion of rap. Right. And everything else. But the base of, if you listen to the Eighth Element album, you realize that the base of the album is high life music. It was inspired by high life music, and I'd proudly call myself a high life artist, or maybe an Afro soul. I don't want to. I hate changing genres or talking so much about genres, because it limits a musician, But I want to proudly say that I love high life music, and I think it inspires my current trend of composition.
Right. I've been listening to a lot of your music, and for me, there are two of them that really resonate with me. That one,
yeah,
My Life,
yeah.
Basically, not the remix, the original version, and then Where We To Go, what's actually playing in the background. Now, in My Life, you describe yourself as, well, in other places as well, you describe yourself as prolific, talented, and modest. Let's dig into that a bit, about how prolific you are, your talent, and this bit about modesty, because on the landscape, another thing we see is oftentimes artists are not modest, and they say it's a rap thing. You have to be like that. How do you respond to that?
What? Well, I'll just say, this is a Trigmatic thing, so that other people won't feel like, oh, that should be the normal, that should be the accepted thing. The same way I don't want to accept what everybody else does. I don't want people to be forced to live like I do. But I think that if you live like I do, you save a lot, and it saves you trouble.
Right.
I say I'm modest, because, I mean, ideally, I'm a spiritual person, and people who,
when you say you're a spiritual person, what do you mean?
I mean, I'm Christian to start with,
right?
And I am more of the spirit than the flesh. So it means that the things of the material don't matter to me. If I'm driving today, the car does not define me, because then that's the problem. It means the day I don't have my car, I can't do anything. I can't go the places that I want to go to. So I don't allow the things that was made by man to determine who I am, because I mean we're imperfect people. The reason why I am this flesh is because I need this flesh to exist in this world. That's the only thing. So there's really nothing to glorify about the flesh. It's the spirit that matter. So everything we have is just addition. It's just small things to our lives. So if I'm relating with you, and the only reason why you're giving me, maybe you give me respect, or you give me, some treatment is because of the car I drive, or what I'm wearing, or how I smell.
Right.
Then you have a problem and I have a problem.
Right.
It has to be because of what you see beyond
the physical.
The physical.
Right.
So it could be a thought. It could be some gesture I showed you. It could be just. That's why people are not satisfied. So a lot of people out there, we might think they're happy, but they're not satisfied.
Right.
I wouldn't say that I don't have my moments. I have my down moments where I expect that, Charlie, things get better.
Yeah.
Things will be, but they turn around bad. But it's for this same reason. If I was so much into that realm, I would always be worried because, Charlie, there's always problem.
Okay, so let me ask you this on the back of that before we talk about how prolific you are, how talented you believe you are.
Yeah.
Going back to the days of Lord Kenya and the rest, he had a system. He was always rapping about money, Sikampum faneho and udimisika metu wege and all those things, in there. Today, someone like Sak is always talking about money. We have a lot of artists who focus on, talk about money, not all the time, but they are often talking about money. Does money not concern you at all? Is it something, especially as an industry player, is it something that you overlook? Because sometimes some even in beef and all of that, they jab others because they have it or they don't. What's your take?
Well, money is very good, and even my faith teaches me that money answereth all things.
Right.
So money is very good. In fact, it is very, very important. It's good to have money because it makes things easy for you. But it also it's dangerous to make that your everything, because even to be very wealthy, you must be in control of the money.
Right.
You understand? So that the money doesn't determine where you go, but you are able to control having it.
It said that money is like fire. If you control it, fine. If it controls you, you're doomed.
You're doomed, because it makes you do all kinds of things. I mean, look, do you realize that it took us a while before we even realized who certain rich personalities were in this country? And then there are also some ones that we already know that, this guy is rich, only for us to find out that, this person we didn't know about, he had so much, so money is money. And I'm not saying that, you see, let's not confuse modesty with poverty.
Right.
Or not being able to afford.
Yeah.
Modesty is being content, or being able to not necessarily show off what you have, or wanting to buy something, have something, own something because you have it.
Right.
It's not being concerned about that. It's having it, but not being so concerned about that.
Your focus is not on that.
It's not on that.
Right.
Whereas you not having it's a different thing. So push hard to get the money. It's good to also confess money. So I love what Sak and Co are doing.
Yeah.
But I'm playing the other role where
Right.
once you think about that, you can also think about where you're going.
Right.
So we are all playing very good roles in the lives of the listener.
Right.
They are inspiring you to work hard, get the money and everything. And then when you listen to my music, I'm pricking your conscience that, once you get it, what next? What are you doing with that money? Where are you going? Are you thinking about the next person and all of that? Because if we don't do that, we continue the cycle where the human being becomes less important,
Right.
but what the human being has becomes more important, and that's dangerous.
Right. So you get possessed by your money, and then it appears nowadays in our world, things are more important. The things we can buy are even more important than the things we can't buy. Human beings and the rest. So by all means, get that mullah, get that kwacha, get that dinero, l'argent. But in the end, let it not possess you. We'll take one of your songs shortly. We'll get into one of your songs. Interestingly, you talk about money in that song. But right before we do that, there were two other bits I wanted you to talk about. How prolific you are and your talent. In a nutshell, how do you describe yourself talent-wise?
Charlie, you said it already. Like me, I don't know how to do it, but I'm able to work on anything.
Right.
You know, regardless. Like even if you drum to a table, whatever, I'm able to just work with any kind of sound, and I think it's a blessing. I'm grateful to God for that. Yes, I really work hard to groom and grow this talent, but I give all credit to God. But I mean, with music, it's just because it comes naturally. Like I have it, even though I do my routines, I do my rehearsals, I rehearse at least. Like I make sure that I'm always listening to some sound, writing something, trying out some new instruments and stuff like that. But naturally, God is just giving me this gift where I'm able to flow with anything: reggae, dance, or rap, whatever I can.
Yeah, you did that song.
Yeah.
What are your best creative moments? Early morning, late at night, any time of the day?
Late at night, but any time of the day. But late at night, I think I do some magic.
Let's check out this song from Trigmatic. He calls this one Wusikanti. In other words, all because of your money.
Che dunia mamuduka domesa daka meida duka naka kakani kakuma chaiwa kega. I got an answer but I choose to tell you later. I say this world is not your own, 'cause if you die your body know they go back home. Koya giri manka alane baba. Papa. Today you get, you hit your chest like you forget. Karika manta kamango beyaza manawa. In this hour, it be God we get the power. Blessing rain like shower, make me sweet, come on, this hour. And we are say, Kaise, Oni Pampe Tumpo, baby Arada. Ewo Shika, Ewo Jamie, Kai Mwake, Anise Bote de Onaye. Usikenzi Woody Matem, and we are say, Kaise, Oni Pampe Tumpo, baby Arada. Ewo Shika, Ewo Jamie, Kai Mwake, Anise Bote de Onaye. To give me a hand, don't mean you demand the things that you can. If you was the man that needed a hand, refusing a man you don't understand, but knowing you can, you murdered his plan. Keeping your mind, you meet him again. A different man with different game. Respecting the man, 'cause he got the fame. The power, the money don't make you the same. You're wrong. Only your mind can make you strong. Pray to God so you can live long. Make you keep the legacy, son. Until when you're gone, your work ain't done. The hustle is on like a marathon. The suffering gone, the enemy wrong. Spiritually born, the battle is on. Medic is gone.
Trigmatic in the background with Wusikanti, because of your money. You know, something I've realized in life, sometimes because of money, people become monsters. Human beings become some beings that you can't even imagine. Control your money, yeah. Look for it, yeah. But when you get it, don't let it control you. Trigmatic in the background with that one, he calls it Wusikanti. Let's get right back into the studio. We're here with the man Trigmadola. But you're Nicky Sef Trigmadola. Why not Trig my city or anything? It means you've got money on your mind. Let's talk about influences, yeah?
Yeah.
Who are those people, artists, that have influenced your music?
In recent times, I would say almost every African artist,
Right.
including Ghanaian artists from the 60s to the 90s. I'm talking about the people who didn't let go of their roots.
Right.
Like the Ejako Nimos,
Right.
some of the guitar
Right.
bands.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. Like oh man, I sampled one of their songs, "Show Me Your Love."
Oh wow.
Yes, these are the guys. Ajay Adofo.
Show your love. Chewodo, or is it
No, not that
going
one.
going
I
way
love
back into?
you love me, show me your love, oh brother.
Right.
Yeah, that one. So, Jay Adolfo, the likes of
So you're going
George
pretty
Darko.
old school right there.
Yeah, George Darko, and then away from Ghana, Fela Kuti has been a very strong one for me.
Interesting.
Yeah, very very strong influence. My music, Fela, Yusundo, Salif Keita,
Right.
Mani Dibango.
Big wigs on the continent.
Yeah, and I don't know how Angelique Kidjo is doing it, but she's still killing it.
Yeah.
With still killing it.
Still
her
winning
age.
Grammys
Yeah, winning
and still
Grammys.
doing crazy
Exactly.
stuff.
Yeah, this tells me like these guys they're doing something right.
Right.
And now. I'm looking at what the likes of Burna are doing. You can tell that they're highly influenced by the African sound.
I mean, Burna Boy is highly influenced by Fela.
Fela, exactly.
Because his own father worked with Fela.
Exactly.
So you can even listen to some of his songs and you can
then-
get like anybody when I want to. That is
That's
Fela right there.
Yes, that's Fela. That's
And
Fela.
in fact, when you listen to that song, there's a bit in there that is pure Angelique Kidjo.
Yes. Yeah,
Angelique
even the
Kidjo.
guitar
People
lines.
don't know it,
Even
but
the guitar
there's a
lines
song.
in that song.
Yeah.
And
I think it's the Wewe song by Angelique Kidjo.
Yes.
Wewe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You're right. And one thing is what people don't know is that, and I know that a lot of people will eat me up for this, but the truth is, the grandfather of Afro beats, which I think like a major influence for Fela's music,
Right.
is Ebo Taylor from Ghana, who's still
Right.
alive. And Ebo Taylor, for instance, he's been sampled by the likes of Usher and Ludacris, a few other artists. I mean, Alhaji K. Frimpong's song has been sampled
Yeah.
by Jacob Banks in London, and a few other artists. So, I mean, look, there's this band. I just forgotten them. There's a rock band now in the States, and almost every song that was sampled, they sampled High Life music. The guitar lines are High Life, So this is it. I mean, these guys are the guys.
Talking of the high life, yeah?
Yeah.
It appears we're letting it die in a way. And recently I heard Adekunle Gold,
Yeah.
Nigerian artist married to Simi,
Yes.
saying that we should treasure people like Bisa Kede.
Yes.
Because they're still continuing on that front. They are still, if you like, in contemporary terms,
Yes.
blazing the trail. But we're not treating them as national treasures, so to speak. He feels he's worked with him and this is good. Do you think we're allowing high life to die?
Yeah, I think in a way, I think the sound can't die because music cannot die.
Right.
But what it is the brand. The brand is what we're not marketing well. I mean, sometimes I even, I wouldn't say blame, but I think sometimes us as musicians add up to the problem where we try to water down the sound itself. That's why I wouldn't even fully, well, Bisa has really done well by still calling it High Life.
Right.
But I'll also give it to Dada Havko.
Yeah.
I'll also give it to, other young guys who are actually creating the sound,
Right.
the high. You see, because you cannot hide behind the name and not obey the rules of the sound.
Right.
The sound, you can't change it. It's either an amponsa or it's either you are doing some the gomba high life. It's
Right.
either that's the bass must be there. I mean, when I say the bass, not like the bass sound, but the underlying sound must always be there. So I think that they're really doing well. Like Adekunle calls himself an urban high life musician.
Right.
So I mean, why not us? Why not, a Trigmatic? Why not, and sometimes we even shy away from it because we feel like, oh, Charlie, it's some colo sound. I don't want to follow,
Yeah.
because of the branding. But the sound, it can't die. It's there.
We'll be talking a number of things, but I want us to skip and talk about your entrepreneurship.
Yes, sir.
You do a number of things. I mean, you farm,
Yeah.
and you've set up different businesses, your own label at a point when it comes to music. Let's talk about your entrepreneurship drive. How did it start for you? Did it start with the music end, from the music end? Did it start from other ends? How did it start?
All right. So what people don't know is like I'm a survivor. You know. Even with music, I pushed and pushed and it wasn't working. I remember between 99 and 2000 is when I met Jay Foley. I think I met Jay Foley in 2000 when he was also learning how to make beats from the last two. And I was in the same studio with them. I was trying to always go there, do a freestyle to be selected to be put on the mixtape. And one day he pulled me out. He said, "Oh, this is my number. Call me." You know, and I kept calling the guy, you know, for years. Not because he was, but I wanted him to produce for me.
Right.
And I fully picked my call in 2003. Now fast forward. I never stopped pushing. Even when I met him, he would do beats for me. He would do beats for all of us, including Edem. Edem was in a group then,
Right.
And a few other people, Ole and all of that. And it looked as though, Charlie, none of us will get anywhere. But I'll be the one that will still try and take my song onto the radio. And it was a big deal then. You cannot get your song played on radio. It wasn't as cheap as it is now.
You know, the payola and all of that. You have to pay your way through.
Yeah, it was a big deal, you know. So I was able to put the sound on radio, you know. Fast forward, got people to listen. Now I was one of those guys that were like serial callers to a radio show, you know. So there was this show on Vibe then, if I can mention, and I'll call in and I'll be like first or second caller all the time, you know. And the name was like I think I was Trigger then, and I'll mention my name and then they'll say freestyle and then I'll kick a freestyle all the time. I did it maybe continuously for like 2 years.
Is that how you ended up with Vibe?
Yes, that's how I ended, because so now people knew the name. So you know that you have some callers you probably know, but when they call you, you know that this guy from this area. And then they did a competition. They put me in the competition. I won the competition, and as part of it, I was supposed to go for an interview. Went for the interview. I started working with a magazine, as an editor for the magazine, and it was during the sales with the magazine that I met the manager for Vibe then, and then she said, "Why won't you give radio a try?" Which I did, and I ended up being the co-host for the show that I used to call into. And then because I still wanted to push my music, and it was through that I go for interviews and I give people my CDs. Like, I'm also a musician, check me out. I met Two-Face. I met the likes of Two-Face.
Two Baba.
Yeah, Two-Face, Face, Morgan Heritage. It was a magazine that covers the world. So I met a lot of artists through that. And I give them my song. They always, it's good, but you never get anybody, till I was able to do a collabo with Tiny, whom I met at an interview. I was interviewing him. Then he decided to jump on a song with me. Then I released my first mixtape. Reggie heard the mixtape and said, "Nah, pull the mixtape back."
Reggie Rockstone.
Yeah, Reggie Rockstone. Pull that mixtape back because I know you from Bless the Mic. And then let me put a verse on one of the songs. And he did. And I re-released it. And then people started catching on. Did another interview on Radio Universe. Another person heard, and it became a household name. I wasn't big then. Tried to hustle out of Ghana. It didn't work. Went to other African country. Came back, and my life had leaked from the studio, so it was all over the place. And that's how I got my first break. And then, from music, because I had my plan.
Right before we proceed from music, I know you also did some stuff with YFM.
Yes.
Hosting, but that's something we can freeze for now. What you say in that song, My Life, my bre papa, like a brother got killed, but nobody to sign him. Was that your story you were talking about?
Yeah, I was talking about myself. Yes, because still I'm not signed. I mean, I've never been signed. I signed myself. I've been an independent artist. I've never worked with a producer, an executive producer. I've never worked with a label. I've never had sponsorship from anybody. Nobody can place their CD, dollar, or pound on me, besides maybe family and friends. No investor, but I've done it for the past 11 years.
So Trigmatic, you're basically saying you're self-made in this industry. Everything you've done, it is you.
Yeah, with the help of people. But in terms of investment, not time investment, not ideas. I'm talking about financial investment. It's been me. And then from there, I started growing other businesses because I realized that I needed to diversify, you know. So that's how the entrepreneurial thing started.
Okay, so it started with the music. Now you fused the music into other things. One thing I know is you farm. Now,
Yeah.
a lot of people, down here, especially the youth, they think farming is for poor people.
Yeah.
But places I've been to, it's the farmers who are the big wigs. They call the big shots.
Yeah.
They do stuff.
Yeah.
I know about, and I've been, had the opportunity of working in the cashew industry, both in Ghana, in Brazil, and other parts of the world. And we're joking here. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's huge.
sometimes. What triggered your interest in farming, and how fruitful has it been for you?
I mean, the same reason you just gave, and then the fact that everybody thinks that it's a job for dirty people or bush people or
People who don't know what
they're about. But the truth of the matter is, right from here we're going to eat. So ideally, these guys still call the shots here. If every farmer decides not to farm for a year, and we decide not to import again and all of that, I mean, how are we going to survive? And even with that, I know that a lot of people are predicting that there might be food shortage. I hope it doesn't happen, because I don't know how, most Ghanaians are not planners, so a lot of people will be caught off guard. And COVID proved that, So, I mean, got into a gig because of some of these things. Because, Charlie, a friend of mine introduced me to it. And I was challenged because I knew that he was a typical businessman,
Right,
who would just do nothing but business. He went to a good school and all that. So for him to tell me that, Trig, you're playing, Charlie, you haven't tried this thing. Try me. Look, let's give it a try. He said, okay, fine. I'll give off 4 acres for you. Try something on it. You will fail. He told me you will fail
for starters.
But
Right.
I know that if you don't stop it, you're gonna get somewhere.
So what did you start farming?
Rice.
Rice.
So that should tell you how bad it was for me.
Right.
Because I mean, if anybody's listening and they know how growing rice is like, it's very complicated. So I didn't know about it. I just went into he was guiding me all right, because he was also growing rice.
Right.
But it was crazy. Like today, we need to buy this. We're buying pesticides. We are buying this. And I got tired at a point, but I never gave up. And then he calls me one day and says, how about now I've seen that you're firm, you can really do this thing. Let's do a partnership and grow a bigger farm. And so now I'm part of a bigger, a 55-acre farm.
Right.
Yeah.
So from 4 acres to 55 acres,
Yeah.
partnership.
Partnership,
And,
yeah.
you're growing local rice. You're producing rice
local yes.
locally.
We just harvested. And this year's harvest has been very good.
This year's harvest has been very good.
Yeah.
So you can call him Trigmatic the farmer. He's a farmer right
Yeah.
there. But in these times of COVID-19, everybody, you're donning your mask. I have to have my mask on in
crazy.
the studio and all of that. How has COVID-19 changed the dynamics, even in terms of business?
Yeah, I mean, we would have to respect it. And let me just say that every market has its trends, and sometimes it moves up and down. Then that dynamism is crazy. I mean, we're in an exponential world also. So look, business will never, if you're a businessman and you're thinking rigid and you don't want to change, or you'll be doomed soon. I sat in a lecture, which myself, I was giving a lecture at the same program, and I listened to a young man talk about the future of jobs, and it changed my mind. Ever since that time, I had a change of mind. So I've been sort of ready. I didn't think it would be COVID, but I knew there would come a time where things like robotics, artificial intelligence,
Right.
Data analytics and stuff like that would take over.
Right.
And the trends on the markets will change.
Right.
And people will migrate to that digital space. So when COVID came,
It wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when.
when exactly. So when it came, I was like, yo, this is what I listened to. This is what the guy was talking about.
Right.
Because now people were laid off. You see the number of people that were laid off, because now entrepreneurs became the biggest. People in the private sector had no option than to lay people off, because I mean, they couldn't pay the bills. They couldn't. And people also got an awakening. They realized that, look, in this office space, I don't need more than 4 people. I don't need more than 3 people.
Right.
So now people just say, go home for a break. We will call you. You do this, do that. Because the employers started realizing that, look, the robots were really, really taking charge.
Right.
And still here, some people take it for granted. But look, if you're not doing like if you're not getting into the business of where you can give people food, clothing, water, shelter, and stuff like that, forget it. If you're not looking at robotics, IT, data collection, data analytics, and stuff like that, you should start considering those things, because I mean, very soon, back then, you couldn't work from home. Now I listen to radio stations like online, and some are working from their bedrooms, and it sounds just as clean as traditional radio would have operated, so COVID really like catalyzed this whole migration. And for me, I think that, Charlie, it brought some new things. Even within me, I started editing myself.
Right.
I edit some short videos. I'll do this, and it got me creative. How can I survive?
Right. So the dynamics have changed, and you must change along. You must
yes.
adapt. If you don't adapt, you'll be left behind. And one thing, virtual has taken over,
Yep.
and brick and mortar, well, it's time for us to realize that you don't need the edifice. You don't need to. Even church
Yes.
was affected
Yes.
right there.
Yes.
Trigmatic, Trigmadola in the studio of Africa Global Radio this afternoon, and we're moving on to other matters. But I know that in terms of your entrepreneurship drive and your influence on the youth especially, you have Wyatt, and even recently the Bright Ideas Pitch Challenge,
that was a judge
2020,
on.
which was supported, by the way, by Africa Global Radio, which was a
Yay.
partner. It was a forum for business ideas, people to pitch their business ideas, funding going in there so that young people can also show what they're worth.
Yes.
They could tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. It was a great experience for me, and that day, Charlie, I learned a lot. Like I was surprised, like young people, like I was like, yo, when I was his age, I didn't know a thing about what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And
A friend was telling me the other day, her 3-year-old was telling her about the endocrine system.
what?
The children today, the things they know, when we were 15. What we didn't know, they know at
They
age
know-
3, 4, 5.
Exactly. And this should like wow every parent to want to invest more in
Right.
educating their child, and not just schooling, but educating them, having them try their hands on new things. The Bright Ideas was amazing. Young kids coming in with great ideas and being sponsored. I think a lot of these programs should be encouraged, even by us, like people in the media space should encourage that. Back then, I mean, when I was doing art, I joined the Shankers Art Competition, and I did it for 3 years.
Right.
And every time I knew Shankers Art was coming, so I would use all my time to think of the new thing to create. They would always give you a topic, either it's about global warming or something, you need to be creative. All these things have gone away from us. Science fairs have gone. We don't do science fairs again. So we're not giving kids the chance. People could create helicopters, create their own cars. They're not trying their hands on these things. IT exhibitions, all these things are dying out. Everything is entertainment.
So
So
where it's brought us. It's landed us.
so, I mean, I really enjoyed the Bright Ideas thing, and thanks to Africa Global Radio for supporting this. I think that I give you 10 over 10 for that. This is what you guys should be doing, and this is what we stand for as media people.
We promote what is African, what is
Exactly.
right here in
Exactly.
Ghana and beyond. But,
And big shouts to Shirley.
right. Who, Shirley?
She it was her initiative.
Right. So let's dig further into the music bit. In my life, right?
Yes, sir.
There's this line where you go like, the only thing that keeps me alive is I am the best.
Yeah.
In 2009, best, hip hop artist, best rapper.
Yeah.
You won that award, but are you the best rapper in GH, on the GH music scene? What do you say?
Well, I'd say I'm one of the best.
But not the best. Can you stake the claim and say I'm the best?
Because I no longer find interest in being labeled as just a rapper. I do more than rap.
Right.
I mean, if you've been to any of my latest events, you would realize where I'm going.
Right.
I want to take my music way, 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 way beyond rap.
I see that Afrocentric
exactly.
vibe. You've developed your music beyond like you said, high life, a fusion of what you call Afro soul.
Yeah.
You mix there's some hip hop in there. I mean, I'm even listening to the retake or remix of
yeah.
My Life.
Yes.
And there's a bit, Manifest in there flowing, Walasi doing his thing,
Yes.
AI and
Yeah.
you. It's
And-
a hodgepodge of many things.
Yeah, I mean, gone are those days where like I'll just do a song and leave it. But if you look at the remix, for instance, I got sax and horns played by Katrina Swarovski from Denmark. I got flutes on that song played by Della Botry. I got the guitars played by Akakpo, and then I got bass played by Bismarck. It was only the drums that were programmed. So
Look at that mix.
yeah, so you can imagine, like, so that's where I'm going with the music thing. So I wouldn't want to say, oh yeah, I'm the best rapper. Oh yeah, but I mean, I will nail any rapper if I got the
You would
chance
nail
to.
any rapper.
Oh yeah.
You would nail him.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I mean, with that, it's a talent thing. But there are dope rappers in Ghana. I
Now,
must
speaking of dope rappers, so if you had to give us your top 5 in Ghana and maybe on the continent, so top 5 in Ghana, top 5 on the continent when it comes to rap, sick rap. I know it's a difficult one,
yeah,
but
it's a very difficult one.
who would be on your? I mean, who would tumble off your tongue?
Okay. And it's not in order. I'm just throwing the
Not in any
names.
order.
Yeah. I think Nasty C is doing an amazing job. Okay, you want
So
to
you're
start
starting?
with Ghana?
Yeah, we could start with Ghana, then go Africa.
Okay, Ghana. Oh boy. What's his name? Toy Boy.
Right.
Yeah.
Really?
Amazing.
He's been working with Sock.
Yeah, Toy Boy, amazing rapper.
Right.
Toy Boy. Joey.
Joey B.
Yeah, Joey does something, man. I mean,
He was in the studio
yeah,
last
Joe-
week.
I like Joey like this. I wouldn't just even limit him to being just a rapper. He has more than rap. Joey B, Toy Boy. I love T-Flow.
T-Flow.
Yeah.
Looks like you're going for people who may not necessarily have bust up like that, but they are really good.
Yeah, but they will rap. They will eat you up. Like these guys,
Right,
they rap.
right,
Yeah,
right.
they rap. I mean, we
There's a
can't
name
take
on my mind, but I don't want to mention the name
Don't
to influence
mention
your
yet.
list.
Don't mention yet. It might be on my list. I may forget. Rappers rap. Gemini.
Gemini.
Yes.
Right.
Gemini. I can't mention rappers and not mention Gemini. And then
You have one slot left.
One slot. One slot. EL.
EL.
Yeah.
So EL is the only, sort of blown up artist you've put out there. What do you think about Strongman?
Hey, yes, Strongman.
See, I didn't want to mention the name.
Yeah, Strongman. So maybe you should have given me 10 slots.
All right, so you've done 6 now.
Yeah, so Strongman is in there. There's this guy. Some of them too, I know them by the name.
Is your pal M Diggity on the list?
Manifest.
Right.
Manifest definitely on. And okay, let me do the Manifest. I wanted to put some of the big name. I feel like they're already there, so I don't need to, But there's the Sack. There's Manifest. I mentioned EL already.
Yeah, you mentioned EL.
EL. I put myself in there if I'm allowed to.
Of course, why not?
Yeah, I put myself in there, and then.
So you have like 2 slots left.
People don't know, but I think Walasi is one of the dopest rappers.
I totally agree.
Yes,
Walasi is
one
in
of
there.
the if Walasi is doing rap, it's just like AI is a singer, but AI is one of the dopest rappers. You should hear AI's rap songs.
Right.
Yeah, but since we're talking rappers, I mentioned them. Give me some of their names. Akan. You see?
Akan right there too. A lot of people have been talking about that guy.
I should have
in
mentioned
recent times.
Akan in my first 5.
Right.
Yeah.
But you said in no particular order.
Yes.
Let's do a quick one for Africa.
Africa, Nasty C. Let me be honest. Most of Africa's rappers are from Ghana.
Right.
Yeah, so I would say Nasty C. Maybe South Africa is also doing well. So Nasty C, Double HP, but he's a bit old.
Right.
I love this guy. This guy who did this on track. What's his name?
Right.
He's also South African.
Wow.
Oh, what's his name? Yes, him. And then MI is good.
M.I.
from
Abaga.
Nigeria is
Yeah.
good. MI. That's just about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the list there from Triggy. And so let's just do this. On Facebook, those of you watching us live, Nanekia says, go Triggy! And you send us some, celebration emojis. There's also this one from Yasmin who says, I love how multi-dimensional Trigmatic is. Afa Hakim Abukari says, we day for you. And the last one, boom, indeed. Let's talk awards. Now, I've already mentioned that in 2009, Best Rapper Gong coming to you. But the VGMAs in recent times has been heavily criticized. I mean, the last one, Artist of the Year, Kwame Eugene, some feel it wasn't deserved. Some feel the likes of, Kofi Kinata should have been taking home the gong. And I've watched the tabulation of the percentages, and they are always over 100%, 101, 102%. Some people have criticized the organization. What do you think about the VGMAs in the current state?
I mean, it will be difficult to criticize an award scheme that I've been a part of.
Right.
I mean, because, I've been nominated. I was still nominated this year.
Right.
Let me just say on record that for the past 10 to 11 years, each year I've been in a scheme.
Right.
I've been nominated. I've had about 5 or 6 of the VGMA awards.
Right.
So, if I wouldn't, but yes, there are some lapses.
You won't, in a way, bite the hand that feeds you, in the industry. But
not necessarily that, because then that also proves that my awards are not like by merit.
I get it.
But I thank God it's mostly in the industry awards. I mostly win the industry awards like songwriter, record of the year, and stuff like that. But you see, when the popular awards is where the problem is. The popular ones is because the definitions, they don't define the categories well. And then the voting, the way they go about the voting. Recently, I think I may have put up some suggestions, which I think
Deborah?
Yes.
Deborah.
Yes,
right.
on Instagram. And I think they are amazing suggestions that the board should look at, because he didn't say it out of sentiments or anything, but all the things that he mentioned there made a lot of sense, because of course you would have artists who are still affiliated to people in the academy and on the board. They will be influenced by personal interests and stuff like that.
Right.
You would have if it's going to be about votes, then ideally it would never be about by the merits, because if my people can vote more, if I can buy 50,000 and one person can vote more than once, and I can push that or invest that and into the voting, then I'll be the one to win. It's not really about the works, So then what really, if you're saying the 60% and 40, but it doesn't really add up.
Doesn't add up.
It doesn't really.
It appears
really
across industries. I mean, in the media landscape, it appears to be same. They want you to vote. Sometimes they want you to pay this and that, and some of us are not for that. So those are some of the problems. Well, Charterhouse, over to you. I know you're likely listening, or you have someone who's listening in or watching us live. But speaking, continuing on the tangent of awards, in recent times we had a certain Dr. Fojo. Now he's trending all over the place, giving out fake awards. Some of your industry contemporaries, falling victim. Yeah. I mean, the likes of D Black, Sarkodie are all presented with fake awards. This guy has presented awards to big wigs, mammoth personalities, from governance to academia to chiefs to any group you can think of. Are we too award happy, praise happy as a people? What do you think?
Yes, to an extent, I think that we are. But it's also because of the system in which we run and the world that we've created, where people buy into accolades. Like it's a big thing, Even when you enter to the business world, you want to tell people what you have in terms of accolades, what you've been able to achieve, achievements. This is what I've done. I've worked with this company. I've been here. I've done that. So all that adds up. So it's a societal thing. I don't really fault them, but where I feel like they should have is, maybe pay more attention, maybe do their due diligence. Of course, if you're going to be nominated for an award, they would send you an email. You should do your due diligence on them, how long they've run it, what are they looking for, why was I even nominated? Because then it means that somebody can even scam you with these things. I don't know. I hope they didn't pay any money. There
are some suggestions that some people may have paid, but it's not confirmed, so I can't put that on there.
I hope not. But if it is, then it will be really sad, because you should do your due diligence. Anybody could fall victim to these things, and that's why I'm saying that.
I mean, even the vice chancellor of the University of Ghana fell victim.
That is because
chiefs have fallen victim.
That is because
music artists have fallen victim. Media people have fallen victim.
Yeah, because we are not growing a system of supervision, accountability, and stuff like that. if we had a system running, then it means that you go through that system to be given a license to have an awards ceremony or something. If NCA is checking some of these things, if the bodies in charge, the ministries are really, really involved in what goes down on the ground, you can't just get up and create a company and say, oh, I'm giving out an award. Look, apart from this guy's award, there's so many other awards going on.
Right.
This award.
Right.
This award.
You want to name any
award.
of them?
No, I mean, hey, it's their business. But all I'm saying is that what goes into legalizing these things? I mean, Charlie, if I can't hold weed around town to smoke, then definitely I shouldn't just be able to wake up and have an event, any kind of event that I want.
Right.
Because nobody's supervising. Nobody cares, because everybody thinks the entertainment industry is when nobody thinks that it has anything to affects governance or the economy in any way. But look, the entertainment space is pretty much employing about 60 or 70% of the youth currently, whether we like it or not. Even if it's self-employment, people are still in the entertainment space. Somebody saying I'm a makeup artist. Somebody saying so we need to guide these people. Otherwise, the day they will rise, it will be crazy, because we will have more people coming with these schemes. We'll have more people coming with more crazier events, and there will be nobody to say or do anything.
Arts Africa, right here on Africa Global Radio. We're winding up right now. There are 3 core issues I want to run by you right before we wrap up. So just make them bite-sized.
Yes, sir.
One thing about our country, we don't have a reading culture. I grew up on books, and I think I'm able to do some of the things I do because of the background I was given. I know you're passionate about reading. What can you say to not just Ghanaians, but everybody in Africa and even the diaspora when it comes to reading and how we're lagging behind? It's been famously said, erroneously, but it's been famously said that if you want to hide something from the black man, put it in a book.
And that's sad. Which is why, okay, I don't want to go to that before we start another interview. Right. But all I would say is because individually, people don't set agendas for themselves.
Right.
We've grown a culture of hand to mouth, so continuous education is not necessary to a lot of the people. People feel somebody can even be in a position as delicate as a bank manager, and never learn again. And will not learn. They will learn hands-on.
Comfort zone. I've made it.
I've made it. That's it. You know, they don't read wide. They don't care, so they don't even know what's coming or where it's going. That's why the song "Where Will They Go" is beyond the song. You know, it's a big question, because if you know where you're going, that's where you read towards that. Even if it's just reading for leisure, even if it's just to refresh your mind, you realize, you see, that difference between you and I, and this is in the Bible, is in Proverbs. The difference is there's no difference between the rich and the poor, because they were all made by God.
Yeah.
Now, bringing it to this world, the difference between you and I, or him, or any other person listening, is information.
Right.
So if you have a certain information I don't have, you can control me.
You know, Warren Buffett said once that because he reads so widely, people come and consult him on business stuff. Things he's read, that's
yes.
what he uses to make money. And me, look, I read so widely that I even end up reading things about science, surgery, and stuff. Ask me, I don't play in that field.
You.
But you see, that knowledge will come in handy someday.
Thank you. I bought a book on robotics. I didn't do computing or anything. But if they're saying that's where we're going, I might as well at least just grab a thing or two. I'm currently reading a book on King Solomon, because if I want to follow the Christian faith, I might as well read deeper into that. You know, so I'm following the man. I was following him. Why? Because I want to be wealthy. And if he was the wealthiest man that's ever lived, if they're saying that his money was up to 50 billion USD, if they're going to bring it to our now time, then
I would say Mansa Musa would trump that.
Oh yes, exactly. You know, so but then how would I get there? No, even if it comes to Mansa Musa, I would be interested to find out how he acquired that. What was he doing in the morning, afternoon, evening? What was he using his time for? So these are the interests that people should build, and these things are not easy to do. They are cultures that we were not born with. So you have to pick yourself up again. So I encourage everybody listening, pick yourself up again. And when they say reading, it's not just picking a book. You can start from, if you see a flyer, love to read what's on it. Because if you don't love reading, actually you can only live in Ghana and maybe some African countries, because elsewhere you need to read to know where you're going to drop off in the bus.
Right.
You need to know where to press to tell the driver you're dropping off here.
Right.
When you get to the mall, you don't always go around asking people. Sometimes they even give you a tour guide in a book form.
Another thing we're so not good at in this country is reading maps.
Oh yes.
Yeah, you go to some places and they just give you a map, and you must find your way.
Yeah, I mean, I use the map a lot. Like, I go and I say, oh, okay, so this bus goes here, and they show you the bus. You know the terminal where to get the bus from and all of that.
Right.
So please, if you see like a little flyer, read it. If you see a newspaper, read it. That's where it starts from.
So your short message on reading would be that.
Yes, that's my short message.
Right.
Read something small.
Racism and all that is happening. Black Lives Matter. And, in recent times, Mr. Blake and all of the things, the shootings, the killings, George Floyd. What's your take on that? I mean, have you come face to face with racism before?
Oh, yeah. Somewhere in Spain.
Right. In a nutshell, what was your story?
Oh, and I mean, it was, we're just there. And this thing about let me touch you and see.
Whether you're human?
Yeah. Like they wanted to check and I was like, I'm a little bit light skinned, so why am I even but it wasn't even about that. I mean, I screamed, I went crazy,
Right.
And then after I was calm, but what I realized was that I see people who do that as blind people.
Right.
And blind in quotes, no disrespect to people who have disability, but I mean, I realize that it's because they are one-sided and they've chosen to stay on that side.
Right.
What we can do as a race is to empower each other. You see, like I was talking about calling shots. If we still feel our race is dependent on the other race approving us or validating our existence, we will never end this war.
Right.
And it still shows a sign of insecurity and not believing in the people that we are. Because I always say this. It takes you to possess a certain power for somebody to not want to have you around. So it shows that we are very powerful people. It is up to us to harness this power to create, because look, everything we're doing, we're thriving on the white man. We're thriving on them. We're living off them.
We have a globally dollarized economy. Everything is based on the white man.
Everything. So we need to start thinking how we can empower ourselves. We can break off. It may not happen totally, but we can use it to our advantage.
How can we do that?
We can do that by supporting black businesses. We can do that by now reorienting our children to start believing in themselves, believing in the African dream, believing in the black man's dream. We can start telling our story. We can invest in our film industry and tell the black man's story the black man's way. We can invest in our music. We can now bring back the truth behind the black history.
Right.
So this is the time for us to empower our people. We do that through empowerment, and one of the biggest channels, I mean, we have social media now, internet now, which is free. We have to use it to advantage. But look, we're the same people who are televising us killing ourselves. We're the same people televising us on World Star fighting. World Star is like just people fighting, killing each other, So we're showing this to the world. And what we don't know is that there are some big shots behind it who love this agenda, who know that. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if there are some people who have a different agenda behind Black Lives Matter.
Right.
So it's about time we mean the word, the statement. We have to mean it and not just want to be heard. I want to be heard. Otherwise, then it looks like anytime the black man is tickled, he bursts out.
Yeah.
And it's unwise to always talk out of your emotions. So we need to set an agenda for ourselves.
Right. Question is, what is the agenda? That's what we all ought to be, contemplating. And That is why Africa Global Radio, we're doing this. We're setting the agenda.
Thank you.
It's a positive agenda,
Thank
a positive
you.
narrative about
Thank
Africa and the African and what we do here. I mean, how many people know, for example, that laser eye surgery was invented by a black woman?
Man. Yes.
It's a black woman.
Oh,
that the traffic signals we
somebody
use.
Sent me a
so
picture.
many of them. I think these are some of the things we ought to be putting out there.
Black inventors. Like it has names.
Chow of them. Chow.
And I was
so
like,
many. There was one who just won a suit in recent times for like some $72 million. You know, something he invented that some other companies have taken up. But there's a long list of them that we can talk about. Maybe some other day we can get into those.
And you know, there are actually even new young inventors also from Africa, like some young inventors from Africa here as well. You know, so yeah, like what you're saying is really, really true. These are some of the things we need to show to them, to our generation.
Right. So very interesting stuff there. Right before you take leave of us, Triggy, let's talk fashion. Now, it appears all of you have your own fashion sense and stuff you do. And I don't know, it appears you have a brand. You know, Wale Soyinka is known author, his grey afro, his grey fro and beard. Chinua Achebe, you know, before his sad passing, was known for his, you know, wide-rimmed glasses and all of that. I see you wearing this heavy beard and your African prints and all of that. Is that your go-to, you know, fashion sense or your brand, if you like?
Yes, please. Yes, that is, and it took me a lot of guts. Sadly, I don't know why. Wanting to embrace my, you know, African self had to take me guts to do. It should have been easy, but it took me guts. And when I did it, yes, I got the people saying, "Oh, Charlie, but you know, Charlie, you the B." But now they've accepted it and they know me for that, and yeah. So that's my style.
So you spoke of Shirley earlier when it comes to the Bright Ideas Pitch Challenge.
Yeah.
She's also been sending in some messages. She says, seems I arrived for the juicy topic. And she says, and with one interview, the Trigmatic mask has been invented. Mask with beard at the bottom. So it looks like it's a unique one right there. Well, Shirley, thank you for connecting with us.
Thank you. Hi, Shirley.
All right, so we do something on the show. We always wrap up with some motivation. Okay. And I don't know, you could choose to motivate about reading, you could choose to motivate the youth, you could choose to motivate about farming, whatever it is. But let's wrap up with, you know, maybe a 1-minute motivation for Africans everywhere, for Ghanaians, for those in the diaspora, for the whole world, basically.
I mean, during an interview, you did say that, I mean, what is the agenda? And I mean, I'm African. I want to say the agenda is Africa. We don't even need to think too far. The agenda should be Africa, and the agenda should be the empowerment of the African.
Right.
We need to believe in ourselves. We need to know that we want to drive Africa to a place where, when we're no more, the generations after us and the generations after them would be proud to see what the fathers have done. This is us. We're in a time where we have all the tools to make that happen. Back then, there was no there was no internet. Back then, there was no robots. There were robots, but the efficiency of the robots. Now, this is the time where we have all these things at our hand. Now, let's start looking at the African industries. Let's start looking at the health sector within our space. Let's start looking at the entertainment industry. Let's start looking at all the industries that matter. We're selling away Africa. We're selling everything African out there, and that's a problem. We need to start using it for ourselves. And if we're going to sell anything, it must bring the people the gains, and not just the few people. If Africa become the agenda, we would, when we're choosing leaders, we choose leaders who have Africa at heart. If Africa becomes the agenda, when we're training our kids, we'll train them and we push the African spirit in them. If you are an artist of any type of art, when you're thinking about Africa, you create things that tell the African story.
Right.
If you're in a media space like Africa Global Radio is doing, you will tell the African story as well.
Right.
So guys, we didn't ask yourself why you're in existence. You think you're in existence to live, buy a car, be with your family, give birth, and die? Then there's no point.
Right.
You know. So the true thing is you have a purpose here. Find that purpose, and connect it to the bigger purpose.
Right.
And believe me, you will live a peaceful life. Look, be modest, be at peace with yourself, and you be at peace with everybody else. Push yourself. Always endeavor to learn and do more with yourself, with your time. If you want to make money, you don't sleep more than the rich because they already have the money. So
Right.
sleep less, read more, engage yourself in more things. And look, don't be afraid to fail. It's part of it.
Your motivation to me is written in your shirt or on your shirt. You totally can.
Oh, yes, you
That's the
totally
motivation
can.
I took away from you. Just because I'm going to play your song, My Jolly.
Okay.
Basically, like my special person, my love. Are you married?
Yes, I am.
Right. So maybe some shouts to your wife.
In fact, to the entire family, my wife, the kids, Eden and Elena,
Right.
and then to my uncle. I know because he said, "Oh, I'm going to listen on Facebook," so I don't know if he's watching. But big shouts to my entire family. I love you guys.
Right. Final message. So many nuggets of wisdom. Boom. Thanks, Trigmatic. And that's our message to you. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Trigmadola.
Let me just say that please go on any of the music streaming platforms and get the new album, The Eighth Element. And it's my fourth studio album. Check it out. I have songs with Joey B, everybody else, Joey B, Wiala. You have a bit of everything on that album, and stream, download. Let's have fun.
Enoch Nanayao Odro Ejay, popularly known as Trigmatic or Trigmadola. I call him Mr. Triggy. Thank you so much for coming through
Thank you
this
too.
afternoon. This is Art Africa. That's how we sew it up on Africa Global Radio. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Same time next week. Let's do this. In the meantime, enjoy this number from Mr. Triggy. He calls this one My Jolly.
Hello, my baby, you know it's been a while now. You know I'm gangster, so I no go fit to bow down. Stop smiling, pay attention to these words now. Sorry for shouting, but yeah, I can always be a clown. I hear the message where you give your little brother. Taking pictures with girls will be something we really for bother. I be you now, you know say your boy you feeling brother. Say you should TV later, no just say you not get better. But you cry, be I see you plus on UK brother. That get to be a kato, I almost get that in that to eat fresh, but I brought your boys be brown, and I don't wanna be a victim to no heartbreaker. And cause of you, I keep grinding for that more paper. To the woman, why? And yeah, na kai kai. I jima what you mind, I dream no jai jai. Oh, be like the lights won't go off. Okay, bye. Me and my jolly, she did for fun, she did my mind mellow.